Hi, church leaders. I'm Doug Parks, one of the co-founders of Intentional Churches. This is Bart Rendell as well, and we're talking about our guiding beliefs. And one of the last ones we want to cover with you is this idea of our guiding beliefs behind stewardship and resources. So guiding beliefs for us, really in all the churches we've worked with, literally hundreds over the last 12 years, there's been this underpinning that's been in Bart and I of beliefs about how church should operate and how church should think that we've now codified or put in writing so that we can teach out and churches can learn these as well. So these that we're going to hit today are going to be about stewardship and resources, what we believe to be true about those.
Yeah, the first is simply this, that if you're going to come at, and if you're going to be a healthy church leader and come at your church the right way as a leader, we believe you have to have that spirit of stewardship. So we said, I believe in the book very clearly, you have to take it very seriously, but hold it very loosely. And that is, we're going to take a church, and I would encourage any of you to take this same mental frame and sort of put it above you as something that you're holding up, that you're stewarding, that you're a caretaker of in this season. And that we're going to do our best job to discern where it is, what God's double impact future is for it, and what the work to unlock that gospel potential is. And that means any role at the table is kind of co-equal when it comes to stewardship and service to that mission and that vision. And that this church probably had a history. And if it didn't have a history, it's in our hands right now. We're going to give it to the next generation in the best shape possible. And that's what good stewards do. They train up the leaders that are within it to treat it the right way. They hand that baton of leadership off, but the whole time they're taking it super seriously, but they're not white-knuckled because God can do immeasurably more. He can lead to challenges that are very difficult. But at the end of the day, it's in our hands right now. And so what would we have to do while we are stewards of this church in this time, in this season? So first principle or guiding belief under stewardship and resources, that we're just stewards of his church during this season.
Yeah, the second guiding belief, church leadership really is a zero-sum proposition. And what we mean by that is that there is, one of our good friends says this phrase, there is no innocent yes. That when we have a certain finite amount of resources, time, leadership, staff, budget, communications, whatever it is, we have a finite amount. So when we say yes to certain things, that automatically means we're saying no to other things or other strategies. This is a very hard concept for church leaders. We oftentimes ignore this principle, but we would argue it's like gravity. It's a force of nature. At some point, there's going to be some idea you want to do or implement that's going to help people move along in their walk with Jesus. And if you don't adjust your amount of leadership money somehow by either stopping doing something or creating more bandwidth, you won't be able to attack it, or you'll do it in a mediocre way. And so this principle, very important to understand that we have a finite amount of resource.
So those two, first guiding belief and the next under stewardship and resources, go together, because if you have that zero-sum thinking, then it's naturally going to make you a good steward. And so every time you're making a strategic decision to stop or start, you're viewing your resources, which are God's resources, the sum total of what you're managing. And so it really raises conviction, I know, in me as a church leader, if I think that way. Finally, when people are engaging your ministry, whether it's the 99 or the 1, they are spending their time and their energy and their effort. But we believe there's a new thing that they are transacting or spending with you, and that is their attention. And so in this day and age of multiple screens and devices everywhere, messages flying at us at an astounding rate of all types, we've got to be good stewards of people's attention as a transactional commodity. And what I mean by that is we as leaders, it's not hard to understand I've got to be a good steward when it comes to people and their resources, or people and their time, or people and their talents. Those are all resources given to you. Their attention and your attention. Where are your eyeballs and your ears? Where is your mind? Is a new thing that we have to put into the mix. And so the third guiding principle we talk about with teams a lot is Attention is the new transactional commodity of life, and we've got to learn to add it and think about it in our planning into the mix.
So this idea of the guiding beliefs of stewardship and resources, really think about with your own team. Are you more on this end of the spectrum where it's, this might be a very negative term, it's a scarcity mindset, like we can't spend anything because we have to control our future financially or with time. And we would say that's not being a good steward. At some point, you have to release those. Are you in the other end of the spectrum? We've had churches that are like this, that are blessed financially, and so they hire lots and lots of staff and have lots and lots of programs. But at the end of the day, they've not gotten the most out of every dollar given. We want to strike that tension in the middle on our resources and our stewardship, where we invest wisely what we have to try to get the most Great Commission return out of our investment of all the resources that God's put under our care.